The Gospel of Thomas as it is, a bridge between ancient wisdom and living truth. The Gospel of Thomas is one of the most intriguing and spiritually profound texts discovered in the Nag Hammadi Library, a collection of early Christian writings unearthed in Egypt in 1945. Unlike the canonical Gospels, which narrate the life and miracles of Jesus, this Gospel is a compilation of his sayings, wisdom teachings meant to awaken the soul to its divine nature. Long suppressed and considered heretical by early church authorities, the Gospel of Thomas offers an unfiltered glimpse into the mystical teachings of Jesus. However, this suppression was not accidental but deliberate, largely solidified under the rule of Emperor Constantine in the 4th century. As Christianity became the official religion of the Roman Empire, its teachings were altered to align with imperial control. Constantine convened the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD, which marked the beginning of a systematic effort to remove or deem heretical any text that emphasized direct spiritual experience over hierarchical religious authority. The Gospel of Thomas, with its focus on internal realization and communion with the divine, stood in stark contrast to the emerging institutionalized church, which emphasized obedience to external structures and intermediaries. By removing such texts, the very nature of Christian worship was fundamentally changed. Instead of fostering a deeply personal connection with God, the faith was reshaped into a rigid system that prioritized creeds, doctrines, and political unity over spiritual realization. These sayings are not meant to be merely understood, but lived, internalized, and realized within one's own heart, something that was discouraged in favor of a faith mediated through institutional authority. To truly understand the significance of the Gospel of Thomas, we must look at the world Jesus inhabited. Jesus was not simply a religious teacher, he was a spiritual revolutionary, challenging the deeply entrenched powers of both the Roman Empire and the corrupt religious leadership of his time. The Roman occupation of Judea brought political oppression, heavy taxation, and social unrest. Roman rule was enforced with brutality, and those who resisted, whether politically or spiritually, were often met with imprisonment or execution. At the same time, the temple authorities and religious elite had largely become agents of oppression themselves, aligning with Rome to maintain their power. The Pharisees and Sadducees enforced rigid interpretations of the law, creating an externalized legalistic religion that emphasized ritual over relationship, dogma over direct experience of God. Jesus' teachings directly threatened both of these systems. He preached of an inner kingdom that was not controlled by Rome or the temple elite, but was accessible to all. He challenged the idea that one must follow religious intermediaries, instead offering direct access to the divine through knowledge, devotion, and inner transformation. This is why Jesus was seen as a dangerous figure. His teachings empowered individuals, making them independent of both state and religious control. His message was not one of blind faith but of deep personal realization. The Gospel of Thomas is not an isolated teaching. Its core message of self-realization, divine love, and the transcendence of external dogma aligns with the universal spiritual truths found across traditions. Among the most profound of these parallels is the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, the sacred text of Bhakti Yoga, in which Krishna reveals the path of devotion, inner realization, and the eternal nature of the soul. Krishna, like Jesus, speaks of a kingdom not of this world, urging Arjuna to seek the eternal, not the temporary. Krishna said, "That which is real never ceases to be. That which is unreal has no existence." The seers of truth have concluded this. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 16. Similarly, Jesus in the Gospel of Thomas speaks of the impermanence of the world and the need to seek the eternal truth within. Both teachings emphasize that the material world is fleeting and that true liberation comes through direct communion with God, not through external rituals or institutions. Krishna describes the state of divine consciousness as something attained through devotion and direct experience rather than ritualistic adherence. Krishna said, "Just try to learn the truth by approaching a self-realized soul. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized soul can impart knowledge unto you because he has seen the truth." Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 34. Likewise, the Gospel of Thomas repeatedly calls its readers to seek truth directly, to know God not through doctrine, but through revelation. It mirrors the Bhakti path of direct, heartfelt devotion, where divine truth is not something believed, but something known, lived, and experienced. In drawing from the Bhagavad Gita, we are not imposing an external framework onto Jesus' words, but rather illuminating a shared mystical tradition, one that speaks of the oneness of God, the necessity of inner transformation, and the realization that divinity is not separate from us but found within. In this work, we've taken each verse and transposed it into a modern, conversational style, aiming to capture the true essence of the Gospel's message. While we draw from a deep spiritual tradition to illuminate the deeper meaning of Jesus' words, our focus is to present these teachings in a way that remains universally accessible. Our aim is to make these teachings available to both Christians seeking a deeper connection with their faith and spiritual seekers who may not identify with any formal religion. This is not just a translation, it is a transmission. It is an attempt to present the Gospel of Thomas as a living teaching, one that invites us to turn inward, seek the divine presence within, and cultivate a love that transcends the boundaries of dogma and doctrine. The voice of Jesus here is one of a divine friend, calling us to remember who we truly are, eternal beings in relationship with the divine. Each verse is followed by a purport, offering reflections to help the reader apply these teachings in their own spiritual journey. May this work serve as a guide for those who long for something more than blind belief, who seek a love that is real, a truth that is living, and a path that leads directly to the heart of God. These are the secret sayings which the living Jesus spoke and which Didymus Judas Thomas wrote down, translated as it is for the modern seeker.